Hi, my name's Aannsha and today we're going to use the wet felting technique to make a tiny little love heart that you can then either just give as a gift or you can turn into a pendant or a key ring or a bag pendant. I'm going to use Nepalese wool. I got this from Spotlight because it was a spur of the moment decision to make this project, so I didn't have any in these colours. Spotlight apparently are discontinuing wool rovings, so I will put a link in the description below to some online shops where you can buy wool rovings and merino wool if you would like to make a project like this. I'm also using warm water that has some dishwashing liquid in it. I may use some liquid hand soap. If you want, you can use olive oil soap because that's kinder to your hands. I'm going to use a piece of netting. As you can see, I've already been making some felt this morning, it's wet, and a rolling pin. So let's get started. Now this is a tiny little heart and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay the wool as best as I can in the shape. It will spread as I work it, but I want to try and keep it as small as possible. There, that's good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a nice orange layer. So put the layers perpendicular to each other, and that way when the fibres open up when you're working the material, they'll all grab together and make a really strong finished product. What I want to do with this heart is I want to make it look three-dimensional, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do it with colour. So I'm going to put red over most of this, like that. Don't worry if you go over the shape, because there are two ways that you can fix that when you're making it. You can either keep shaping it into the heart that you want, and if it doesn't play nicely then you can cut it at a certain point in the project. So I'm going to use some yellow here, like this, and then I might even just add a little bit more here, and then I'm going to put a little bit of white in the middle, like that. So let's get started. So I'm going to spray this, saturate it with warm water that's got dishwashing liquid in. Now you can use olive oil soap or you can use liquid hand soap. I'm actually going to put a little bit of liquid hand soap on here as well, just on my hands, and that just gives it a nice sort of slippery feeling when I'm working with it, because the dishwashing liquid's quite drying. So it's already spread out, but remember that wool shrinks between 30 and 50% when you felt it and full it. So at the moment, don't worry, just very, very gently start rubbing it in circles all over the project. What you're going to have to do as well when you use netting is just, especially at the beginning, just keep pulling it off, because the fibres migrate through the netting. So as you're doing that, while you've got the netting off, just encourage the heart shape back. And this big dip in the middle. There we are. So and then just keep working it. The soapy water is alkaline and that stresses the wool, and so the fibres open up and they've got little hooks on them and they all grab together, and that eventually makes a very, very strong material. But to start with, you have to just be very, very gentle with it so that all of the colours stay where you've placed them. As you start to work with this and the little bonds start to grab together, then you can start being a little bit firmer as you massage the wool. A little heart massage. So this makes a lovely little present for someone that you love, or someone who is a really, really good friend. Of course, it makes a great present for Valentine's Day, for that someone special in your life. And you're not limited to using traditional reds and pinks and oranges like I'm using. You can actually use any colour you want to. You can make a rainbow coloured heart if you want. If you do make this project, let me know in the comments below what colour you made your heart. If you're new to my channel, you'll notice that I do have lots of other felting projects and also eco printing using natural leaves and flowers, and I've got a waxed food wrap tutorial, and I also have some meditations as well. I'm a meditation teacher, and I found that over the years meditations really helped me get in touch with my creative side, and to stress out less about how something turns out or whether I can do a project or not. So if you're somebody that would like to know a little bit more about that, check out my videos on meditation. But there are plenty of other felting projects, and there's one for beginners, and there's also one, a more advanced one that shows you how to make a felt painting. So that's actually creating a picture using the colour placement of the wool. So there are so many things that you can make. I've made a glasses case with no seams, so there are all sorts of projects on here that you can have a look at. And if you would like me to make more projects, write in the comments below and tell me what you would like to see. Let's have a look, see how this is coming together. See how it's not migrating through the netting quite so much. Let's just encourage it back into a heart shape. Now at some point we'll do a pinch test, and actually that's not too bad. When there are no loose fibres like there are around the edges, then we can actually take the netting off and go to the next stage. So I'm I'm pressing a little bit more firmly now. Alright, so this is coming together nicely. It's just the edges. So now, it's at this point, if you want, you can cut it into a more heart shape. If you found that yours isn't quite the shape that you would like it, then now's a good time to cut it, because as you work the edges, the edges will firm up. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do that. What I might do is I'm going to fold it in half where the point is, and I'm going to create a bigger dip, and then I'm going to cut around, because I want this quite small anyway, because it's going to be a pendant. So when I open it up, quite nice, isn't it? I might even give it a little bit more of a there. There, how's that? That's pretty cool, isn't it? Right, let's keep going. So because I've cut around the edges, I'll just give a little extra rubbing to firm them up, if you like. And also, you know, when you're shaping it, you can, you know, when we're working it, we can keep reiterating the shape so that it stays in this lovely heart shape. I'm still using the netting to work with this. I just find it easier to move my hands smoothly over the material than if I was just doing it straight over the wall. But at some point I'll take this off. But if we do a pinch test now, I think we'll find that it's all interlocked. So let's have a look. Yeah, see? No stray fibres. So see how this is looking kind of like three-dimensional, like the light shining on it. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to roll this, and we're going to, actually I'll turn this around because it's the right shape. There we go. We're going to roll it, and we're going to roll it in 4 directions so it shrinks evenly, because it shrinks in the direction that you roll it basically. And we're going to roll each direction 100 times. After each 20, I just move the rolling pin a little bit more so that it really gets even coverage. Great arm workout. Okay, so it was, see how it shrunk a little bit in that direct dimension? So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn it a quarter turn, and we're going to roll it up, and we're going to do it again. Alright, so now we're going to turn it that way and go for another 100. Alright, so last turn. This really helps the fibres to really knit together and create a strong, cohesive material. When it's been fulled, which is the next stage, which is sort of where it shrinks and gets that lovely bobbly texture, it becomes waterproof, and it's a very, very durable fabric, and so much so it's been used to make hats and shoes. And in the old days, like we're talking, you know, Stone Age, they used to use felt to make a lot of their clothes, and it's been turned into Mongolian yurts, which are the big domed tents. It's just fantastic. It's a fantastic fabric to work with. You can make jewellery, which we're doing now. Okay, so all right, it's a bit exciting. That's nice. See how it's got that lovely dimensional sort of sheen looking to it with the colouring. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start squeezing it, working it really hard. I'm going to use a little bit of liquid hand soap just to give it a nice foamy feel. So when you're doing this, if you want to shrink it in a certain direction, then work it in that direction and it will help to shrink it into the shape that you want. If you're happy with the shape, then just try and work it evenly in all directions. If it was a scarf or a bigger piece of material, you actually sort of bounced off, you'd throw it, and the weight would also kind of help to full the material. See how it's getting a little bit smaller? That's the fulling process happening. Just gonna get a little bit of moisture on that better. So as you're doing this, you can keep pulling it into the shape that you want. This is just the perfect size to make a pendant or a key ring or a little bag ring. What are they called? Those decorative things that you hang off bags. I call it a bag key ring, but that's not right, is it? Oh, look. So that's a really nice size, see? Okay, so let's get some water. Just plain water, and we're just going to rinse all of that soap out. I mean, if you wanted, you could just do this straight under the tap, but I guess if you're saving water, then this is a good way to do it. Depending on the size of the piece of felt you've got, you might need to change the water 1 or 2 times. So I'm just going to rinse it again. So if you use really hot and really cold water as well, that will also help to full your heart or your project into a smaller shape. Right, now I'm going to get some cold water with a little bit of vinegar. Okay, so just a splash of vinegar. This is apple cider vinegar, but basically any vinegar will do the job. Don't need much. It's just to neutralise any remaining soap and just to give it a slightly acid environment, which will help your little piece of felt last longer. Perfect, look at that. Next thing is to squeeze out the excess water. Just use a towel, that will get all the excess water out. So the back is a lovely red, and the front is a lovely 3-dimensional shape, so it looks as if it's glistening. Now if you've used Nepalese wool and it's a little bit furry around the edges, you can actually just trim the fur off. I'm not actually cutting the sides, I'm just trimming the fur. Next thing is to let this dry, so I'm going to put this on a trivet and I'm going to put it outside in the fresh air to dry, and I'll come back and I'll show you how you can turn it into a little pendant. There are different ways that you can do that, or put it on a key ring, or make a little thing for your handbag. Thanks for watching this video. My name's Aannsha Jones, and be sure to subscribe and ding that bell so that you get notified when I bring out the next video on how to turn this little heart into a pendant, a key ring, or this lovely little bag dangly.